Hello friends, I welcome you all to Coders Companion, and today we are going to cover the most important interview questions on garbage collection in Java. Please like, share and subscribe to support us. The very first question is, what is garbage collection? Garbage collection is the automatic memory management process in Java which automatically manages the memory by deallocating the objects that are no longer in use by the program. It is very important to mention that they are no longer in use in the program. Garbage collection helps to prevent the memory leaks and makes the process of memory management easier for the developers. So in Java, garbage means unreferenced objects. Garbage collection is the process of reclaiming the runtime unused memory automatically. In other words, it is a way to destroy the unused objects. Moving to the next question, why is Java garbage collection important? So there are several reasons behind the garbage collection. So let's talk about them one by one. So Java garbage collection provides many benefits that make it a valuable tool for the developers. Here are some of the benefits for the Java garbage collection. The first one is no manual memory management. So with the garbage collector, the developers do not have to manually manage the memory allocation and deallocation. This means that the programmers can focus more on writing the code and less on managing the memory, which can help to reduce the errors and improve the productivity. The next one is prevent memory leaks. So, garbage collection helps to prevent the memory leaks, which can occur when a program does not release the memory that is no longer needed. This can cause the program to consume more memory than necessary, leading to slow performance and eventually crashing. Then we can talk about dynamic memory allocation. So, Java's garbage collection enables the dynamic memory allocation. Now, what does that mean, dynamic memory allocation? It means that the memory is allocated as needed at the runtime. This helps to prevent the memory allocation errors and can make the program more efficient. The next one is better performance. So garbage collection help to improve the performance of the program by reducing the amount of time spent on managing the memory. This can lead to faster execution time and a more responsive program. The last one is memory optimization. So, garbage collection can optimize the use of memory by reusing the memory that is not used by one part of the program for other parts of the program. This can help to reduce the memory usage and improve the overall program efficiency. So these are the basic reasons that why the Java garbage collection is very important. It is important to note over here that it is one of the very important question that the interviewers do ask. The next question is, which part of the memory is involved in garbage collection? Is it the stack or is it the heap? So the answer to this question is a heap part of the memory is involved in the garbage collection. So to run an application with the optimal performance, JVM divides the memory by two different storing areas. The one is the stack memory allocation and the another one is the heap space management. So whenever we declare a new variable or create an instance, JVM designates the memory based on the operations that is on the stack or on the heap. So stack memory, this one, the stack memory is used on static method allocation and execution of the thread, whereas the heap space is used for dynamic memory allocation for the Java objects and GRE classes at the runtime. So new objects are always created in the heap space and the references to these objects are stored in the stack memory. The next question is, how does Java garbage collection work? So Java garbage collection is an automatic process that doesn't require the programmer to mark the objects for the deletion. Automatic garbage collection looks at the heap memory, identifies the unused object in the application and deletes those objects. So basically, garbage collection works in two simple steps, that is, mark and sweep. This mark and sweep. It is very important to note over here that it works on two simple steps, mark and sweep. These are the two basic keywords that if the interviewer asks about this question, so you have to mention that it works in two simple steps, that is, mark and sweep. So what does mark do? Mark the garbage collector identifies the used and unused objects at this stage, and then this step, that is the sweep step. So it is very important to note that Java garbage collection work on the principle of mark and sweep. Now, as Java has a garbage collection feature, the programmer does not need to mark the objects to be deleted explicitly. The garbage collection implementation lives in the JVM itself. So the next question that could be asked is that how is garbage collection managed? So the JVM controls the garbage collector. It decides when to run the garbage collector. JVM runs garbage collector when it realizes that memory is running low. The behavior of GC can be tuned by passing parameters to JVM. One can request the garbage collection to happen from within the Java program, but there is no guarantee that this request will be taken care of by JVM. The next question that could be asked is garbage collector a daemon thread? To know the depth of knowledge you have for the garbage collection, the interviews generally ask this question. So please answer that garbage collection is a background daemon thread. A daemon thread runs behind the application. It is started by JVM. The thread stops when all the non-daemon threads stop. The next question is, by how many ways are there to call the garbage collector in Java? So garbage collector in Java is carried by the daemon thread called garbage collector. So instead of waiting until JVM to run a garbage collector, we can request the JVM to run the garbage collector. There is no guarantee whether the JVM will accept our request or not. In Java, we can call the garbage collector manually by two ways. The first one is by using the system class, and the another one is by using the runtime class. So let's talk about them one by one. The first one is by using the system class. The system class contains a static method GC for requesting the JVM to run the garbage collector. So in the example, you can see that I have created a main method and I have created the object of system class test, and then I'm assigning it to the null value and using the system.gc, and then I'm creating another method which is the finalize method and printing the output to be garbage collected. So if I quickly go to the code, I can show you that I have created this class where I am using the main method and the finalize method. If I run this code, it will give me the output as garbage collected. All right. Now let's go to the another type, which is by using the runtime. So here the runtime class allows the application to interface with the JVM in which the application is running. Hence, by using the GC method, see here it is the GC method, we can request the JVM to run the garbage collector. However, there is no guarantee that any of the above two methods that we have mentioned will run garbage collector or not. The call system.gc is equivalent to the call the runtime.getRuntime.gc. So here I have created again an example for you so that you can understand the same in a better way. Runtime is basically a singleton class in Java, and we can get a runtime object using the get runtime method. The GC method is from runtime class and it is an instance method. See here it is again printing me the output as the garbage collected, which is mentioned in the finalize method. Talking about the next question, which is one of the most important question, is that when does an object become eligible for garbage collection in Java? So there are 4 points that when an object becomes available for garbage collection. The first one is using the null references. The second one is object references goes out of scope. The third one is explicitly setting the references to null and by using the circular references. Again, this is one of the very important question, that is, what are the different ways to make an object eligible for garbage collection when it is no longer needed? So there are four ways by which we can make an object eligible for garbage collection when it is no longer needed. So let's talk about them one by one. The first one is by nullifying the reference variable. The second one is by reassigning the reference variable. The third one is by creating the object inside a method. And the last one is by using the and the last one is island of isolation. So let's talk about them one by one. The first one is by nullifying the reference variable. So as the name suggests, in this method, the programmer assigns the null to the reference variable of all those objects which are no longer needed. This makes the useless object automatically eligible for the purpose of garbage collection. So here I've created an example for you where there are two objects of employee. E1 references the first object and E2 references the second object. And now after the execution of the second line, the first object referenced by E1 becomes eligible for the garbage collection as null reference is assigned to it. Now after the execution of next line, the second object referenced by E2 also becomes eligible for garbage collection as null reference gets assigned to it. So this is the example of by nullifying the reference variable. Now let's go to the second part, that is by reassigning the reference variable. So as the name suggests, in this method, the programmer reassigns the reference variable of all those objects which are no longer needed to some other object. This makes the useless object automatically eligible for the purpose of the garbage collection. So to make you understand in a better way, I have created the two objects of E1 where E1 references the first object and E2 references the second object. Now the next line creates the new employee object and reassigns the reference variable E1 to this new object. As a result, the first object loses its reference and becomes eligible for the garbage collection. The next line makes object also eligible for the garbage collection as it makes the reference variable E2 point to the object with reference variable E1. The third way to make an object eligible is by creating the object inside a method. So in this method, the programmer creates the object inside the method because after the method gets executed completely, the objects present inside the method automatically becomes eligible for the purpose of the garbage collection. The reason behind this is that the reference variable are the local variable of the method, and after the method has executed completely, all the local variables are automatically destroyed. Now I will show you the example. See, in this example, I have created a main method which is calling the M1 method. So after the execution of the method M1 in the main method, that is after executing this statement number 7, both the objects become eligible for garbage collection and can be collected by the garbage collector. The last one is by the island of isolation. Now, island of isolation describes the situation where there exists one or more objects in the program which are not accessible from anywhere in the application as they contain no external reference to them. It is not possible to assess such objects through any means as they have no external reference to them, and thus they become eligible for the garbage collection. So let me show you the example over here, that all the isolated islands are created and where all the three objects are stuck and there is no communication with any part of the application. All the three objects internally reference each other, but there is no external reference which makes the object become eligible. The next question that is asked is, what are the disadvantages of garbage collection in Java? So there are few disadvantages also, which is that garbage collection can cause the performance overhead due to the time required to identify and deallocate the unused objects. Garbage collection can cause unpredictable pause time in the application, which can affect the user experience. Also, garbage collection can cause fragmentation of the heap memory, which can reduce the available memory for the application. Now, what is the role of the finalize method in Java garbage collection? So, when a garbage collector determines that there is no more reference are made to that a particular object, then the finalize method is called by the garbage collector on that object. The finalize method requires no parameter and does not return a value. The next question is, under what conditions is finalize method called by the garbage collector? Garbage collector calls the finalize method when it detects that the object has become unreachable. How many times may finalize method of the object class be called by the garbage collector for an object? So a finalize method of the object class may only be called once by the garbage collector. The next question is, what is the purpose of overriding the finalize method? The finalize method in Java, also called as finalizer, is a method defined in java.lang.object. It is called by garbage collector just before collecting any object which is eligible for the garbage collection. Thus, finalize method provides the last chance to object to do the cleanup and free any remaining resources. Hence, the finalize method should be overridden for an object to include the cleanup code or to dispose of the system resources that should be done before the object is garbage collected. Now, what is stop the world in garbage collection? The JVM will stop the application for at least a short time and execute GC to free up memory. The procedure is known as stop the world. This means that all the threads will stop running except the GC threads until the GC threads have completed and the garbage collector has freed up all the objects. The next question is, what are the best practices for the garbage collection? So the following are some best practices for the garbage collection. The first one is use the latest version of Java. Configure the garbage collector according to the application requirement. Avoid excessive object creation. Monitor and tune the heap size and allocation rate. Use the tools such as Visual VM, JConsole, and JVisual VM to monitor garbage collection and optimize the performance. So with this, we have come to an end of this session based on the garbage collection in Java. I wish all the candidates a very good luck if you are participating in some interview for the role of Java framework developer. This will surely help you. So that's it from my end for this session. If you have any query related to the questions that we have discussed here, please feel free to add them in the comment section below and we will reply to them at the earliest. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So that's it from my end. Thank you and happy learning.